Today I made $840 in the market using supply and demand and support and resistance. And what's so crazy about that when you think about it is the fact that I didn't do anything differently than I did yesterday or the day before. I used the same exact thing. I used the same strategy each time I go into the market. That's why I love supply and demand, support and resistance. It's repeatable and you can just reuse it anytime. Once you master how to actually spot supply and demand, support and resistance, market conditions, everything along those lines, chef's kiss. So anyways, that's enough about me. I'm going to show you guys the trade I took. We're going to reassess this trade. We're going to reevaluate everything. We're going to go into depth of why I took the trade, my thought process, everything you need to know. My zones, everything. Yeah, we're going to switch over. We're going to see the profits, everything. I don't keep anything away from you guys. I show you guys everything. I'm very, very organic on this channel. And as always, if you're new here, feel free to click a subscribe. I don't know where the hecky the subscribe button is at, but go ahead and click it for me because, like always, I do not offer anything. I do not sell a course. I don't sell a Discord. I don't sell a mentorship. I don't sell a journal. None of that. This is real, raw, and uncut. I show my losses. I show my wins. I show you everything you need to know. And I keep it real on this channel. If I lose, you guys know. If I win, you guys know. We keep it real organic on this channel. And I don't try to sell you guys anything. I'm just here to serve you guys as a purpose to help you guys in means of getting better at what you want to do and accomplishing all of your goals 2026. Anyways, let's get into this chart. We're going to see why I took this trade, my thought process, everything about it, everything. So as always, if you're new here, this is my top step. I took it on 5 expresses, 5 XFAs. I profited 157.81 on the account. Sorry, I was just thinking about my trade because it was such a nice trade, like just looking back at it. So off the rip, when I got into the market this morning, I had this higher time frame. So this red box up here it's a higher time frame supply zone. So I was looking for price to kind of, if we were going to rally today, rather it be on low volume, high volume, if we were going to rally, because the past few days we've just been rallying. If we were going to rally, I expected price to not stumble until somewhere in that big box that I have on my chart. So clearly it was right because price came into that supply zone and did more of a reaction than it did from my trade entry. So I could have taken both sides of the trade, but I'm doing this thing in my trading a thing where I do not want to chase anything. I take a win, I get out. I take a loss, I try to get out. Just depends on if I see something else. But as always, I like to pair the 15-minute with the 4-hour chart. So that's the way that I trade. If you guys are looking into getting into supply and demand, support and resistance, I know a lot of people promote kind of like intraday, smaller time frame supply and demands, which is okay. But the thing about that is that those usually work in a trend. Supply and demand does usually work in just a trend. But the thing that a lot of people do not tell you about supply and demand is if you use it on a higher time frame, you can use it to catch a reversal. And that's how I like to trade it. Not bashing anybody that trades it in a trending market, because those are easy to catch as well. You can see on this chart there's many times where you can catch a demand zone here, demand zone here. You can capitalize off of demand zones in any market, but I like to kind of trade them in a reversal kind of aspect. So like this is a reversal aspect of a supply, and then this would be more of like an intraday kind of thing. But that's the way that I like to trade supply zones, demand zones. I like to use higher time frames because they just create bigger reactions. Not saying that smaller ones don't create a big enough reaction, but higher time frame ones, we locked in. Like just from my years of trading and my back testing, I've had the most luck in my edge on higher time frame zones. They produce such beautiful chef's kiss reactions. So we're gonna go over to TradeZella. You guys know I love TradeZella. We're gonna go over there. If you hear my cat, he got the little zoomies right now. But we're gonna go over to TradeZilla. We're gonna break down the trade, my thought process, my confluences, and everything you need to know about the trade. And as always, again, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Here's my TradeZilla. So you can see this is my personal funded live account. So I took it on five expresses, XFAs, and then I took it on one live account. This account is at 1672. So 1672. I don't really care to keep anything from you guys. So it's at $1,672. It started at $1,500, and I just started it up last week. This one. I've had many live accounts many times where I've done challenges. I do a lot sometimes. Sometimes I just need to slow down. I actually did not review this trade yet. That's terrible on my end, but look, I've had a long day today. So I'm going to put this side by side with the 4 hour because that's just how I trade. So you guys can see what I saw when I was in this trade so this trade occurred at around market open, and I don't usually like to take a setup during market open, but so when the market opened today, we completely just shot up. You can see from this wick here, we shot up 15 minutes into the market. We shot up, so that was an indication for me, confluence indication. That already was a indication for me that we're going to be pretty bullish on the day. So I was automatically looking for a long. So at this point, I'm looking for an entry. We get into here, we're shooting up. Man, y'all should have saw that. I don't know if you guys trade, but if you saw that, that was crazy. So we're shooting up. I'm basically just waiting for my entry at this point. So my ideal entry, if you can see on this 4 hour here, we have a level of resistance. So I like to mark it. I'll mark it for you guys. Since I haven't journaled today yet, we can mark it. So, and also it's beneficial to kind of know like how I do things sometimes. So we're going to mark this here. And I just like to title it. So this is obviously a resistance. And if you're new and you don't really know much about trading, this is you've just been watching trading videos. A resistance is just an area where price kind of just rejected from. So you can see here a wick. This is one rejection. This is two rejections. This is three rejections. This is four, and this is five. And the more rejections that a zone has, so these 5 rejections, the more weaker that we get here. So we rejected 5 times. So off the rip, that's indication that this zone will eventually weaken, and we will flip over from resisting here. So we'll flip over to supporting here. So that's kind of how you trade support and resistance. If you want to do the other side of it, if you don't want to catch a rejection, you can catch that trade over, which I love to do sometimes as well. So today I took it in that aspect. So I knew that we've been resisting here. But off the rip, we had a breakthrough on yesterday from this resistance. So at this point, I'm waiting for price to pull back into this range. I waited for price to come back down somewhere around this range so we can find support, and I take a trade. So that is exactly how I took that trade. We pulled back. We didn't pull back that much. Like, it wasn't that much, but I obviously took where I could. I got in where I could. And I just targeted a 10-point stop. I was initially going to target a 15-point stop, but since I took a slight loss yesterday, as opposed to my normal stop loss, I only targeted a 10-point. Because I was like, my loss yesterday wasn't as bad as it usually is. It's supposed to be a little bit greater, but because my trade went into my favor and I moved my stop loss, it wasn't nearly as big as a loss. So I only targeted 10 points today. Now, if I was being smarter, I obviously could have targeted this area of supply zone that I drew on my chart, that I had an idea that price would reject that. But I'm sticking to my trading rules. And my trading rules right now are like, don't try to hit a home run right now, because I've been kind of flipping in my psychology a bit recently, where I'll try to like chase a home run. And this is not recently. This is like a few weeks ago. And a few weeks ago, I was kind of like just chasing things psychologically. And it was kind of just like, setting me back in my journey. So now that I'm not trying to chase things anymore, my psychology has gotten a whole lot better. So even though I had an idea that price would reject at that area, and I could have targeted that area. I'm not, just because I need to psychologically reset my brain to understand, how to react to certain dopamine reactions and stuff like that. So I just have to reset my mental for a bit. And then obviously in the future, I'll target supply zones, or I'll target a demand zone, or I'll target a level of resistance, something along those lines. But for right now, this is what works for me, because I need to take things slow right now. I'm taking things very, very, very slow. But back to the trade. So back to kind of explaining this. Hopefully I explained it to the best of my ability. So I just saw that this was a level of resistance. So key thing is to mark out your levels. You can count how many times it's been tested, and then you can wait for this breakout. So we broke out of the range, or we broke out of this level of resistance, and you can wait for it to come back and test it as a support, because a resistance always turns to a support, and a support can turn into a resistance because they work interchangeably. So yeah, that was kind of like my whole thought process behind that trade, and I'm so happy that I could end the week on a good note. Not that my week was going like terribly bad, but I'm just happy that I could end the week on a good note. I accidentally sized in incorrectly on this trade. I entered with 1 micro, and then I had to resize in. It was actually heart-wrenching, but I ended up still getting through that trade. And yeah, everything went smooth. So I'm going to switch the camera now. So as always, hopefully you guys learned something from this video. And if you didn't, I'm so sorry. I'm trying my best to help you guys with any and everything you guys have. If you guys ever have any questions, I have my Instagram handle and my TikTok handle in my bio. Feel free to ask me anything. I don't have a Discord again, but feel free to ask me any questions you guys have. I'm always willing to help any and everybody out. I do not discriminate. I am here to help. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you guys learned something, something. And if not, feel free to click my channel and explore all the other videos I have, because I do have videos on how to properly chart your analysis, pre-market analysis, top-down analysis, all those things. I have one psychology video. I'm going to make another one. But yeah, I mean, you guys can always feel free to check those out. And also, finger clap for me uploading 3 times this week. I don't even think I traded 3 times this week. Did I? I traded 4 times. Okay. So I almost uploaded more than I traded. Okay, so I am gonna start being more consistent on this channel, just because I really do love helping people out, even if it's just 1-2 people. I love it. I love teaching, and I love it. I just have a passion for it. My mom was a teacher, and I think her teaching things are wearing off on me. Even though I don't teach, I work not a teaching job. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far. And as always, God bless you, and hopefully you guys have a great December, or a great January, or a great whenever. I hope you guys just have a great life. Bye.